much along the same lines. We talked about during character creation that Jimmy and I will be co-DMing this game, co-GMing, whatever you want to call it. He's going to be doing more of the role play. I'm going to be doing more of the monsters, traps, yada yada yada. The one thing that I don't think I've covered with everybody is that the big thing to remember in this game is that not everything is going to be level appropriate. You may walk across the plains and find a herd of hill giants coming to get you, and you're no way. So always remember that running is an option.
No, just that, like, just kind of a recap. We talked about this at character creation, I think, with everybody. It's this is going to be a exploration survival type game with aspects of resource collection and resource management. There might be in and out a bunch of house rules, homebrew rules, whatever you want to call them. So as players, if you guys have something you want to bring up that you would like to try as a house rule, let us know. Like I said, Pat's got a channel for the homebrew rules that we'll be posting stuff. We'll probably have like several different lists, like stuff that's being play tested, stuff that we've already accepted into the game, and stuff that maybe we tried and are not using. And just in general, especially for this game, with Pat and I have already discussed, and with the stuff that we have, probably best just not to expect anything particular because it's probably going to be different.
So along those lines, I've been kind of trying to think of how to explain this to you guys. When Jimmy and I first came up with this game, like 8 months ago, 6 months ago, whatever it was, there was a system we had found, and it was called Cortex Prime. And it's a whole new system. Completely whole new system. It's not based off of any of previous versions. And basically, it gave you the forest and said, pick whichever trees you want, put it together, make your own game. And I could not see the trees in the forest. I could literally just see the forest, and my brain just went poof. And so we worked for multiple months trying to figure out, okay, how do you run this rule, and how do you run this rule, and what are we going to do with this? And there was another group that we were watching, and we were kind of watching what they did and try to work it together. And finally, after a couple months, I was like, I cannot see the trees. I still only see the forest, and I cannot wrap my head around this. I'm just an old fart. I'm sorry. And finally, Jimmy kind of gave in and said, yeah, I agree. I can't see this either. So with Cortex Prime, it was going to be way easier to make just this whole new world. But we couldn't understand how to make the rules work, so we decided to go back to 5e because we both have a long history with D&D. So if it seems like this game is disjointed, it's because we're bringing a disjointed game into 5e and trying to make it fit. And I don't know how many versions everybody else has played, but Jimmy and I have played all the way since the original Red Box. So we've played through 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 5, the hell that was 4, and we're into 5 now. And so we kind of like rules from this one, and we like rules from that one, and then we played Pathfinder, and we like rules from this one. So we are going to be coming up with different things from every system. This is not specifically 5e. It's 5e based, but there's going to be other rules. They're going to be added that may seem weird. So it's unfortunate if you are a real true rules lawyer. Might not be the game for you. You got anything else, Jimmy?
No, I think that's about it for the auto character stuff.
Okay, so I'm assuming you kind of have a spiel made up for the next level. Also, we should have talked about this before, but I'll move them over to the town, and then I'm assuming you have a spiel?
Yep.
10-4, all right.
So before we get started with the spiel, I need everybody to give me a percentile roll.
Wow, stuff that I'm not even aware of. Cool.
So good.
Oh,
74.
Yeah, alright.
There we go.
yay.
All right. So are we on the appropriate map then?
No, you wanted these rolls.
Yep. Okay. So
Which one of us is getting the double damage?
I was gonna say
you
it.
guys have just finished collecting yourself from all the energies and memories and experiences that you guys had access to throughout the multiverse. You begin to feel your body's form to actually become physically solid. You notice around you that your surrounding starts to also form. At first, you feel a solid beneath your feet, but everything is like still a gray mist. We will start with Mr. Turk. How does your character come into existence?
Like I'm just like being created in the multiverse. Like
Yep. So now you're actually physically forming into some sort of actual physical world. How does your character appear?
probably just like a ball of light. Like just like energy forming into matter. I'll go with that.
And then go ahead and give a little description of what your character looks like as it forms.
There are obvious wings that are like leathery and reptilian, but then the body is more humanoid. Like I have hair. And, you know,
What size?
very, very small.
2 legs, 2 arms, 4 legs.
Yes, and then the arms are weirdly longer than my body.
Ooh.
And then same thing for Ben. How does your character start to form physically into this world?
I would say starting with kind of picking up the looks of a Medusa, and then slowly shifting a little bit into a hag with robes, and maybe a little arched back kind of, but is also probably on the unusual side of being a male rather than a female as being part hag.
So when you say arched back, you mean more like a hunchback.
Hunchback, yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
And so
What was your question, Pat?
I say so. Obviously, bipedal, 2 arms, 2 legs.
Yeah.
Um,
and, I do have the snake hair, and some don't, but I will.
So is your skin more leathery, or is it more of just like humanish?
I think more scaly.
So it's totally up to you. If you want to be scaly, it's scaly. So a medium-sized scaly biped with
Yeah.
snake hair. All right, on to Nicole. How do you form into this world?
And is your character doing anything as she forms?
They start off as a sort of a spirit, a very vague image of a human. But eventually they form into an imitation of an actual person in the world. They become this sort of half hare, half human being. Have like the ears, but their feet are both, more rabbit-like, but the rest are, mostly normal.
So, medium size,
Yep.
2 legs, 2 arms, pretty
Yep.
standard skin, but maybe a little bit more hairy than normal.
Yeah, going when you go lower, yeah.
Okay.
Mostly her legs.
So like her lower legs would be more rabbit fur, but the
Rabbit-like,
rest of
yeah.
her body is skin, and then the rabbit ears.
Yeah.
And then Brian.
Man, everyone else went creative, and I went kind of basic bitch with this.
That's the joys of being first.
Yeah. Oh well, I've had this concept for a while anyway, so it works. So when you first see her, you would think that she's just a of an odd-looking drow, where they have various shapes within themselves. But as you look more at her, you can see more Duragar in her features. Her jaw is less pointed and more squared. Her hair is salt and peppered with silver strands and coarse black hair. And as her hair goes from the top to the bottom, the silvery, delicate strands get um, uh, braided together, different strands, and then those strands gets braided into a longer one. And there's just a curtain of coarse black hair behind that. Um, she is like her traits overall predominantly drow, but you again you can just see more Durgar. Like her arms are a little bit thicker than usual. She's not necessarily as tall. Um, do we have our equipment this time?
No,
Oh,
not at
Okay.
this time. No equipment because you're just literally forming. So,
Yep.
so once again, kind of actually a short elf with 2 arms and 2 legs, with a beard, uh, which is kind of odd for an elf, right? Is that what
Well, no beard.
Oh, I thought you said you had. Oh, it comes off of your head and then you
The
braid.
back of my head.
Oh, back. 10-4. All
The
right.
back of
Sorry.
yeah, she has long hair. I think about maybe middle of her back. I'm not entirely decided on that yet. But the silvery strands is braided down her back.
Okay. Cool. So all bipedal, all 2 legs, 2 arms. No strange things. I mean, I shouldn't say no strange things. Everybody's got a little strange thing. We got some wings. We got some super strong legs. So, all right, Jimmy.
so as you guys form, you kind of look around and you see each other, and you're just standing in still a very non-specific form mist. And as you look around, sorry, you notice a fifth form walk out of the mist, and you see a medium height, what looks to be a human male. He's bald. He has a slight golden tinge to his skin. And as he approaches, you notice that as he walks, there appears to be swirling sand, little dust clouds and sand swirling around his feet. He wears a very loose robe, and as you look, there seems to be something odd about his appearance, but nothing you can really put your finger on. He looks at the group of you, And then one thing you guys notice is that all of you feel a connection to each other. Like there is some sort of sense that there's some similarity to all of you. Even though the appearances are vastly different, there appears to be some sort of connection. This man approaches. Welcome. I am Sabath. Welcome to this world. You have been given a great opportunity. You will start here. This will be your home base. And you'll have an opportunity to build upon what is here. And as he says that, he waves his arm, and the mist slowly starts to disappear. And you guys are standing in this area here. So go ahead and everybody on the map.
Yep, if you scroll up and move back,
Yep.
it's a huge map, and you're standing right next to a large well.
So you notice you're standing around a well in the center of this clearing. And you look around and you see almost like foundations built in around. And he looks at you and he says, "You have now become part of this world, and you shall start your journey and your test here. Each of you will be allowed to choose a structure, a building, a concept to put into one of these places to begin your starting area. And you will be given a starting population to help run this." And he looks over all of you. Who would wish to go first?
And so Jimmy and I really didn't talk about this too much, but this entire area currently is kind of like a gray floating mist. None of these foundations seem real. They kind of move and grow and shrink and float and fall down into the mist. I mean, but you can always see that there's something there. So there is no remnants of previous buildings. These are just
Right.
essentially not even foundations, just rings of stone that are floating in this gray mist.
You get the same sense of feeling with these that you did when you were actually creating your form. Like, these are potential form that have yet to become.
So these are not final size.
Correct.
No.
Okay.
And like I said, if you look around, I mean, you would kind of see. I mean, you might even catch a glimpse of like the ghost image of a building one moment, and then nothing another moment, and then a hill one moment, as the multiverse just kind of seems to flow through this area. So if you look at the four of you, does
So-
anyone wish to go first?
So as time passes, very slowly, you do notice from the well radiating out, the ground is becoming more firm. So you are technically standing on the ground, but everything outside of, say, 30 feet is still coalescing. It's still changing and moving. And like Jimmy said, you might even see a ghost of a person, or a ghost of a rabbit, or a ghost of something out there, but nothing is real, right? And there's nothing there.
And as you guys wait and you look around, it seems that the only thing that appears to be becoming real right now is the well at the center of this town.
I guess I'm just gonna kind of like move appendages just to like get used to the newly formed body.
It's a very awkward action for you. Like I said, you're getting used to like just a new form of existence.
And then with the well being the one of the few things that looks like it's concrete, I think I'm gonna go towards the well and maybe touch the wall.
Okay. As you reach out, you actually touch the stone of the well, and you feel the solidness of stone. You feel it is cool to the touch and just a slight dampness.
Okay.
Give me an Arcana roll. I'll let you use your charisma.
Sure.
Nice.
Through your connection to multiverse and your connection and knowledge of magic, you do sense a feeling of some sort of magic, some sort of power from this well.
Does it appear as a water, or what's the visual appearance of the contents of the well?
Make a perception check, please. Obviously, you do see water at the base. It is quite a distance down. Oh, I thought that was going to be a 20. The way it was spinning around, it was spinning on the 20. All right. You do notice at the bottom, it is not the base of the well. There's like a pool at the bottom, but there is a place to like stand approximately like halfway down. So if you go down, there might be something built off to the side. It wasn't specifically just drilled straight down. There's like a stop halfway through.
Can I roll a history check on my knowledge for wells?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. That's less than potato. It's well.
You know that they usually contain water.
Yeah.
Having experienced like the wet moisture for the first time, I'm gonna like reach in and try to like scoop up.
The water's too far down.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to-
The water's. You look down. There's like
Is there?
the water's like 50 feet down, and then there's a landing like 30 feet down.
Sure. And there's no bucket or any.
Nope, no bucket.
Alright.
As you're investigating the well, Sabath walks over. He pulls what looks like a clay bowl out of his robe, and he holds it over the well, and it just levitates down. And then after like a minute, it floats back up, and he just takes his bowl of water and takes a long drink.
Show off.
I guess bulls normally don't do that.
No.
So what? I asked, are you using a spell such as to lift it, to raise, or to lower and raise the bull?
Yes, I am using magics.
How does said water taste?
He'll just hand the bowl over to you.
I'll accept
Yeah.
his offer and drink some of it.
It tastes like cool water.
That's perfectly acceptable, cool water. It's a place, it's water that would come out of some kind of place for you to drink.
As you drink this, Ben, it being a new experience for you, some sort of instinctual knowledge tells you that, like, this is something that your body needs.
Mhm. Oh, this is quite good for having it for the first time. I much appreciate it. And I offered the bowl back with some water still remaining.
Okay. I'll take the bowl back. Does anyone wish to begin building your town, so shall we say?
Yeah, so since while he's investigating the well, I'll step towards the bath and I'll tell him that I wish to have a building so I can construct a church for Armada and have a resting place for the hurts and ill.
And where would you like this building to be placed? He just kind of gestures grandly at the large area that you're in.
She'll walk up to this northern building here.
You move your character?
He did, yeah.
I did.
Do you want it like just top middle?
Yeah.
So you go over to this foundation, and as you approach, your essentially like your aura, your essence, as you get closer, it becomes more and more real. This turns into approximately a 20 by 30 wood, like shack hut. But on the front of it, it does have a steeple. It does have the symbol to Mater on the front of it. There's a set of double doors on the front, and you can hear people inside, but you can't really hear what they're saying or what they're doing.
As this forms, you feel a connection in a sense to the building, and you can't tell if there is a bonding between you and the building or if your essence is actually being used to form this building.
And it doesn't like immediately just pop into a church. I mean, but as you get closer, the closer you get, the more it expands out. But over time, essentially, it'll become a 20 by 30 wooden building. Looks like I would say an old one-room schoolhouse, but it's fully functional. It's fully weatherproof. It would be a sanctuary for the ill and injured.
Okay.
Is there anything else specific you would want from this 20 by 30 building to start, other than the steeple? I mean, do you want a steeple? I mean, I'm assuming you want the symbol on the front door, and
Yeah.
As far as a basic building, you can kind of throw out how you imagine this to look. I mean, because it is partially being created from your image of what this building is. If you just want like a rectangle box, you can. If you want a steeple, you can. If you want single door, double door.
Yeah, I think it's like just pretty much the stereotypical church that we know of, except there's some, like maybe it's a little bit wider, and like, let's see, 1 or 2 boxes if it's possible, and just have like, I guess that would be 20 feet in the back, separated off, and that's the hospital area.
So you want a separate area for taking care of the wounded and injured, separate from the actual worship.
Yeah, they could be
Okay.
the same building. It's
Right.
just,
Okay.
just like to hear the preachings and lessons. The injured don't have to go far. And basically, we'll have prime seating.
Okay.
Do you go inside, Brian?
I do.
Okay. So, as you enter, you realize for the first time that you now feel the presence of Ilmater. You had the memories and the knowledge of Ilmater, but now for the first time you actually feel his presence. And then give me a D4 roll.
So just let you all know, I can't make up maps as we're doing this. So basically, these 6 boxes are going to be this way until everything's set, and then I'll make a new map.
Okay.
So as you enter, you can, like you said, you hear faint conversation. And at first you see, just like the buildings where when you entered, when you were standing in this area, you see vague forms. And then as you enter and you're looking around the room, 4 figures form into solid form. So what do you want these 4 people to look like?
Haven't thought that far. Like, as far as the races and such?
Yep.
Honestly, probably just random table rolls on the races. I don't think it would matter that much. It would actually probably be better if they were all varied. I think they would just have probably white robes with a, what is it called? It's like a piece. It's not a. I forgot what that's called. Kind of like a piece of cloth that you put over your head that goes down your front and back.
Tabard?
A what?
Tabard?
A tabard.
Yeah, a tabard. And it just has his symbol on it.
So we'll deal with their races and stuff later. But I just put 4 random starting heroes on there, so we know that we have 4 people in here.
So the rest of you guys see this building slowly start to form. You see the female character walk into the building. What are the rest of you guys doing?
I as well would like to check out the building.
Okay.
Pretty sure you just formed in front of me. Or not in front of me,
So yeah, pretty basic wooden building with four kind of anamorphous blobs. You can't quite tell what they are yet, but they're wearing tabards of the same that have the same symbol as outside of the building. If your character is at all religious, they would understand that this is just this would be the beginning of a new church and some followers inside.
okay. As for that, my character would be curious and would like to move over the remnants over here.
So,
Outline over here.
Morgana, you would notice that after this is formed for a while and you're inside, Sabath enters, and he looks at you, well chosen, and you see him grasp a symbol of some sort that he wears, and he nods reverentially to you, and then he walks out of the building.
I just nod back as he leaves. Did I notice the symbol at all?
You did not, because his hand was around it.
Okay.
Ben, I see you moved over there to that other building. What you got?
Yeah, no, I was curious about the whole creation of the building from nothing, so I wanted to see what would happen if I went over to this area.
So as you walk up, the ground becomes more firm, and you have a place to walk, but the foundation still is very ethereal, and it does not change when you approach like when Morgana did. As she approached, her power essentially caused that building to create. So as you walk up to this, because you have no idea what it is, it's still just floating out there in the multiverse, unless you have a plan for it.
I kind of like move my hand to the etherealness, just to...
You feel nothing.
Okay.
Nope. It sits there, and it does actually kind of form around your hand, almost as though it's, I'd say, reading you, but it's actually kind of enveloping your hand and then just swirling, and after a moment, if nothing happens, it just moves away and goes back into this swirling etherealness.
It does very similar to when you were creating your form. You do feel a connection to the swirling mist, and at the same time, it's totally disconnected from you. There's no form, there's no physical aspect to it at this point.
Having more knowledge of basic needs, I start to think through what are some of the other basic needs, and I would come across like, oh, a place to rest would probably a safe place to rest would probably be nice.
And so, Nicole and Turk, it's one of those things, and even Brian, even Kurtz, you guys can talk. I mean, this, you see each other, you see what happens. It's like, you guys can talk about this, and you can decide. You know, you may not have a plan of what you're doing with your building or the next building, but you guys can talk about it. I mean, if you have ideas, you can always just kind of throw them out there.
Okay, so I guess Rem would probably look around for everything that just happened. She wouldn't move around a lot until she'd see the building at the north east,
Okay.
and she'd probably recognize that building as some sort of library, a makeshift library that someone made that everyone could like visit now. Like as she approaches it, she recognizes the building more and more, and it would be she would recognize it as a library of that sort.
Does she recognize this library as someplace she's been before?
Yeah,
So describe
so
the.
it would reflect those sort of memories that this isn't actually a library, that it became that instead
Okay, so
as time went on.
describe the building. What does the building look like as you arrive? Is it a stone building? Is it a wood building? Is it something? What did it look like? Obviously, the size doesn't matter because that's still kind of flowing as it is. So what does the building look like?
So it would be mostly stone, but there's a lot of banners at the front, very colorful. That's why she sort of remembered that that's the library. There's way too many banners, and there are people, just a few, just maybe like two or three, that are exiting that building or entering with a book or two.
Okay. So a small stone building. Is it super tall?
So,
Is it a one-story?
Tark, you would probably see this. Again, like the buildings slowly start to form, and the people that are exiting the building would be like the same ghostly, mist-like, not completely formed people. As you see this essence kind of just pulled from memories.
Okay.
So is this a multi-story building or is it just like one small, like 20 by 30 building that's only 1 story tall with a small roof?
Is it a square building? Is it a tower? Is it a dome half submerged in the ground?
It's mostly normal, but it is like a one-story building that's a little bit higher to store more books, to like a semi-second floor thing. So yeah, that's what I got.
All right. So as you get closer, the building starts to form, obviously. You notice that the people that you thought you saw coming out of them, they're still very ethereal, ghost-like, and as you get closer, they vanish. But the door to the building is closed, and you do hear voices inside having discussions.
Is this a single door or a double door, Nicole?
Single.
You go inside.
She would probably look around first. What if go inside here?
What does the land around this building look like?
It would the land leading to it actually may have a rough path, and then the rest will be like just normal soil with some grass in it.
So as you kind of walk around the building and kind of looking around, you do see like a basic rough dirt path leading to it, and then you see the mist slowly start to form into grass. As your memories kind of collect, like, yes, I remember this. This is how it used to be, and you have the area around the building begins to form also.
Yeah.
So Nicole, roll me a d4, please. So as you walk by the windows and you walk by the doors and stuff like that, you see that there's actually only one person inside, and what you heard was possibly chanting.
Mm.
What does this person look like?
And she will, they will be like you see that it's a normal human person with robes that you probably saw that they're like scholar or something.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Well, that doesn't even look like a wizard.
So, Kurtz, as you're in the building, these people, the 4 people in the building with you, they began to not just form more solid, but they also began to act more appropriate as acolytes. They begin to do what would be common duties for temple, whether it's cleaning, whether it's organizing supplies.
The happy part is there is no wounded for them to be taken care of right now.
Yes.
Hey, I just said as of right now. So Nicole, you talked about a path. Does the path lead from the building anywhere else? Does it specifically just go to the well, or does it lead anywhere else specifically?
For this one, it's mostly gonna be to the well.
Okay.
It would probably look like the center of the whole thing.
Okay. Ben, what you doing over here? Anything exciting? You just kind of playing with the mist?
Oh no, what I was trying to say earlier is, I was starting to develop a feeling for somewhere safe to reside.
Okay. So where are you going to reside? What does this building look like that you want to reside in?
Considering can I roll to see how much I know about the other players' races?
Yes.
Considering that
Yeah.
I got a feel for
Yep.
everything.
You can go ahead and roll.
Is there something specific you'd like me to roll at?
No, I would just say probably
Probably history.
yeah, I was gonna say history or yeah, history check.
14.
So with you essentially came through to this land, and as you floated through space, you just kind of picked up this and picked up that, and none of the memories you really picked up had anything to do with other races. So to you, all these creatures seem like they would need to have the same needs as you.
Okay.
Is there
The
anything?
only thing that you would have that would be obviously different is that the short one has wings, but everything else seems like they would have the same basic needs as you as far as living.
I was thinking of a building that could accommodate for all of them. Maybe with a space for one to maybe perch if they so desired, and then maybe for like one as much as much myself, maybe more.
How much do you like privacy?
I
Would
think
you-
my character would like privacy.
So you would not like to just share one room with everyone. You would like your own area.
Right. Each individual door.
Okay.
A room.
Is there anything else in this building other than, I'd say, a bunch of rooms where people can have their privacy? Is this multi-level? Is this?
Yeah, it would be a multi-level. Maybe more of like an inn kind of.
Okay, so a common area, and then on the second floor would be the private rooms. Okay.
Where you still get a sense of safety and somewhat of a home.
So as you're thinking of this, unlike with Brian, because as he moved towards it, it grew and it shaped. The more you think about this, you're standing there, and essentially the door forms in your hand, and then the building just grows around it. Ends up being a fairly decent sized building. You're standing at the front door, and you do actually hear conversation inside the building. And perhaps even the clanking of some kind of stoneware. But there definitely is somebody in there.
And you said the door formed in my hand, so I guess I'll just turn to try to go in.
Okay, you enter the building and roll me a d4, please. So in the large common area that you enter, it does actually seem like there's a table, and there are 3 people sitting around the table. And as soon as you open the door, they look up at you and kind of give you not necessarily a bow, but they greet you warmly and ask you to come over and sit at the table with them.
I agree, and I just sit down with them and I ask, how'd you come to this establishment?
I'm going to go with Jimmy. This is your lore. Go for it.
As you say this, you do feel it's almost like you have a slight feeling of like asking yourself, and they kind of look, and we are part of this place now. Is there something specific you wish us to do?
I'm kind of new to all of this.
And do you have any particular image that these people would look like?
No, but I would say there's diversity among them. Just in character design, so none of them are necessarily the same. They might like share a few traits, but I guess make everyone feel like they're welcome. Still getting used to this myself, so I'm not quite sure how this should all play out.
So when you look at these creatures that are sitting around the table, do they resemble anybody else in the party? Do they resemble you, or are they just literally just completely random that you have no connection to?
I'd say no connection.
Okay.
And does your character like warm or cold?
I would say warm.
Not necessarily cold as in like winter cold, but just like, you know, cool, warm, you know, hot,
Right.
extreme hot weather, extreme cold weather, like.
I want to say probably would prefer a warmer.
Okay. So then, as you say, like, you know, just to make everybody feel welcome, one of them will get up from the table and walk to one of the sides of the building. And as this person does, you see a fireplace form, and they start a small fire in like a small hearth type thing to add a slight bit of warmth to the building.
Okay. And as this is probably my first time, or this is my first time experiencing, and I feel a little, like shivering, like a warm, shivering feeling. Like this is starting to feel like home. Like or a place I can call home.
So, Turk, you're by yourself outside by the well. What are you doing?
Yeah, probably just been like getting used to flying, and
Give me an athletics roll. And the rest of you give me a perception roll.
Wow. Wow.
Did you roll, Nicole?
Well, have yet. How do you?
So it should be on your character sheet. You should be able to click perception to do the roll.
And then also, if you click on your character, if you click on your icon, there'll be a little heads up that pops up in the upper left. If you go into skills, perception will be one of them. And you can just click on that and then hit the roll. Another window will pop up and you can hit roll.
Where do I do it again?
Click on your icon,
Yeah, you can either
Yeah.
double click on your character
and then
and
does
have
it pull up skills? See where it says skills?
over on the left.
Yeah.
So
Click that. And then, roll, just click perception.
and that should open up another window, and you just click on normal.
Do I just go for normal?
Yep.
Click the perception, and it should make the roll.
Oh,
Yep,
that was
there it
almost
is.
a one.
Okay.
That's almost a
So
one.
you're probably occupied. The other two, as you guys are just moving around your buildings, you just happen to glance out the window and notice a small creature flying around.
Probably like punching in the air a little bit too, you know, just like stretching out. Getting it used to the form.
Punching up. I would, do
So Both will look up, kind of following the small flying humanoid, and he will. So, small one, do you have a structure that you wish to construct?
Well, I mean, if everybody else is doing it, I might as well have something too. I might as well just move over to what's closest to me. And I don't know. I probably just want just a straight tower.
Like a guard tower, or what?
Yeah, probably something to that effect.
What does this tower do? Is it it's just a landmark that you can find if you get too far away? I mean, what's the purpose of this tower?
I mean, like, it's probably a defensive structure, and like, you know, you should be able to see the majority of the surrounding area from it.
So, say a 40-foot tower with the little parapets and crenules on top, with like arrow slits and a stone building. Is that what we're talking about?
Sure, we'll do that.
Okay. And so, like I said, it goes through. As you get closer, it manifests into this stone tower. It's square or round or oblong, or what do we got?
Probably circular round.
Circular round. Okay. So you notice on as it goes up and goes up, like I said, there's some small windows, there's some arrow slits. It looks like immaculate stonework that has never seen battle. You look all the way up to the top, I assume. Roll me a d4, please. Alright, so if you look up, you actually see two humanoids, two of the gray anamorphic blobs, like you've kind of seen with you, walking around on top of the tower. And you do hear movement on the ground level inside, like perhaps the shuffling of crates. So you open the door and you go in.
Sure.
Okay.
Brian, just a second. When you imagine this tower into existence, does it have a ground level door? Or is this an entrance only at the top because you can fly?
Oh, good call.
Say no ground level entrance, but then like an entrance at 30 feet, an entrance at 40 feet, and then like there's, you know, the tower top to it that like
As
you
like
can
a
go
trap
down into
door?
the tower.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll take that back. You don't hear the moving of boxes up there, but you do see at least a couple people walking around on top of the tower. So you fly up to, I'm assuming the top, because you
Yep.
know there's people up there. You land on the top. As you land, what do these two people look like that are moving out of your way and kind of looking at I hate to say looking at you, but looking at you? What did they look like? Are they a copy of you? Are they winged creatures that are?
I have two more copies of me.
Okay. You get to the top, and they are kind of looking at you, kind of half like expecting you to tell them something.
So I take it you guys are newly formed as well?
As you say that, they kind of form a little bit more. And one of them nods and said, yes, we are now part of the security of this place.
I think you guys will do nicely. I believe. So, like, I mean, essentially, like, I can kind of customize, like, what the rest of the structure is to some extent.
Right. Once
So,
you
like-
once you go inside, you can pretty much you'll see how the tower forms to your ideas.
You know,
Once you go inside, you do notice that you do hear the sound of movement down below. There is a third person kind of relaxing at a table. Seems as though he's
Yeah, so,
not
like-
not on duty.
you know, below the top of the tower, so at the top level, you know, it would probably be like a common area, you know, like table, kitchen, you know, the things you would need
Okay.
for, you know, day-to-day life. And then, like, you know, the third level would be like a living area with like beds.
Brian, when you're on the top, give me a perception check, please. So you're on top of the tower, and you obviously you see the common things, the other buildings, the other foundations. But the one thing you look out over the land, and it's everything around here is gray. You don't. I mean, this tower is kind of in the middle of nowhere, and you have no idea what's around you. The only other thing is you notice that there's only one trail leading from the well to the upper northeast to the small building with all the banners on it. There's no wagon trail, there's no paths. This is all like, it almost seems as like wherever you walk is what you make of it.
Yep.
Jimmy, you got anything else? So Nicole, on your library over here, when you think about that, is it actually that far away, or as you think about it, does it move closer to town?
That far away, though the door would probably shift a little more closer to the rest of the town.
Sorry, what was that? The door will be pointing towards town, but it is that far away?
It will point towards town. The building itself is in place.
Kirk, give me a perception roll. As you're flying around and as you're on the top of this tower and kind of looking around, you happen to look down into the well, and you do notice that there appears to be something cut into the side of the well. Like there's, you know, like either part of the wall caved in, or there's an actual, you know, something was carved out of the side of the well and goes sideways.
So it's like an opening, or just like an engraving.
So as Sabath is talking about this, the rest of the town coalesces. The fog moves away, and you are now standing on top of a small mound of dirt, or a small hill.
It could be a burial mound.
Why did that not move over? All right, so I just moved you guys over to a small map. Brian Morgana was standing on top of the town. So, as you guys look out over the world, you see underneath you, I don't know, it's one of those things, I kind of keep moving people's icons, but obviously there in the center is the town you guys are in. Obviously, to the east of you, you have mountains. To the north of you, you have a couple of, looks like fields or grain land. To the west, there is water, and then it seems like it might be part of a larger ocean. Down to the south is Badlands or desert area. It's one of those things where you look out over it and it seems very arid and nothing much going on down there. You don't notice. I actually take that back. Everybody give me a perception check, please.
And one thing that you guys will hear, this is just naturally part of the perception though, is one of the flying halfling type people up in the tower yells, "We have mountains," as the mountains start to form and they notice it. So your lookout is actually like yelling down to you.
Alright. So I see Brian moving all the way around the map. Brian, do you see anything outside of that, like, what is it, essentially 14 foot or 14 tile? You shouldn't be able to see anything outside there. You shouldn't be able to move past there, correct?
Basically I can't move to the left at all. I mean, I can see basically like 5 tiles by 4 tiles.
Okay. And that's the way it's supposed to be, is that, so this is the beginning of your, I'd say adventure, but the beginning of your adventure. This is your town. And so to the east you have water, you have mountains, you have desert. So technically all of you are currently on the town, but I can't have all 4 of your icons on there and let all 4 of you see what's going on. So
the like house thingy, that's the town.
Yep, that's the town you're in, on top of a mound of dirt.
Yeah.
So I kind of explained this to Brian Kurtz, and I don't know how many other people have figured this out. The style of game we're playing is called West March style. You start with a home base, and essentially the players are supposed to come to a consensus of what they're going to do next, and way back in the day when Gary Gygax made the game, way back, this is all it was. He set this up so you could have like 200 players. And basically when a group got together and they said, hey, Ben, Brian, Nicole, and Brian are going to go out on this day, are you available? Then it would be up to the DM to say, yes, I'm available or not. But the group had to decide first where they're going, and then bring that to the DM, and then they would go from there. So, you're in town. These are the tiles that you can see. This is what you can see of the world. As you move out, the world will move with you. You'll be able to see more. So, essentially, this session is about 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes away from being done. So, before we get done, the 4 of you will need to decide whether you're going to explore the well more, you're going to go to the mountains, you're going to go to the fields, you're going to go over to the ocean, you're going to go to the desert, whatever. Or you could just stay in town and do town things. But other than that, like I said, with the West March, the whole theory is that the sessions begin and end in town. So if somebody doesn't show up next time, it's going to be easy to get rid of their person and bring it back. We would like to have at least the 4 of you play. I'd rather not play with 3 people or 2 people. But obviously this is an every other Thursday thing because that's the day I have off. I'm sorry, you're just going to have to conform to me. But so now that is where you are, and like I said, the map will expand as you move out. Each tile will have a challenge for you once you step onto it. I've got to work on how to make everybody be able to see this with all the icons, because this is going to get busy.
What I was going to suggest, Pat, for this map, we might want to just make 1 token for the party to move to whatever tile they're moving to.
Right, and I'm not 100% sure I can force everybody onto this map without their icon.
There's probably a way to make it like
I
an icon shared between everybody.
I think I can, but I don't know how to do it at this point. So that's, like I said, that's why I have all of your tokens on there.
Yeah.
So, every tile will have something for you to clear. Be mindful that certain tiles might have resources, i.e. the fields might have resources for you to survive on. But from there, this is, I'd say, your guys' game. The four of you decide in 2 weeks where we're going next. And we'll go from there. Obviously, moving through tiles is going to change depending on the challenge. It might be just a simple challenge. It might be an entire session long challenge.
Potentially even multiple sessions depending on what the tile is.
Right.
Fair enough.
So,
In character, so Sabath, he will tell you, he goes, this is your start. This is about your survival and improvement. This is your test. You have been granted these beginning structures and this beginning population. If you look around, you notice that there is room for your town to grow. But to do that, you must gather the resources yourself to build these structures. You must potentially gather or find additional population. That is part of your test.
so,
Understood.
so any questions out of character? Any questions in character? Anybody have questions for Sabath? Anybody have questions about the land in general? Okay. So as a town forms and stuff like that, like I said, people are moving boxes. There is food in town. You have the well. You have resources available to you currently. So it's not like, oh my God, we got to go out and kill something today. You have resources to survive for a bit, but you will run out of resources because everybody requires resources every session.
Including your townspeople.
I mean, we can't just let them starve.
You could.
oh, all right.
You totally could let them starve.
You're bound by the building. The building shall suffice.
Oh, Pat,
Yes, sir.
are we doing just standard starting equipment for class out of the book?
Yes.
So in each of your buildings, you guys will find a chest that has the standard starting equipment for your class.
Oh, we got about 3 minutes. What are you guys doing next time?
My character will probably investigate the library and then check out a path towards the mountains.
All right. So we have one vote to go to the mountains. What do we?
In the plains that's up to the north to try to establish some farmland.
We have vote for going north to the plains.
I would probably agree with Kurt to find ways of producing food and going to farmland. Plains.
Ben, are you going to conform, or are you going to try to get everybody to go down the well with you?
Push.
What was the assessment that we have? How much of resources to sustain on?
Ben, give me a D4.
Me
Uh,
or Ben?
Ben.
Oh, sound like Pat. I'm like, why am I rolling?
From being inside your building, you know that you have basically 2 days worth of rations for the entire town.
Based on that assessment, and then finding out how important it is to have to need to use resources, I would agree to go up north.
Everybody give me a Constitution saving throw.
And out of character, out of GM, you can always do half rations, but every roll will have disadvantage.
You said survival?
Constitution saving throw.
Or saving throw, that's right.
Damn, Ben going to town.
Oh.
Brian not going to town.
I did the opposite of going to town.
Visually, the dice can knock each other, but it doesn't affect the roll, right?
I don't believe so, no.
So sad.
I'm not positive. I did see it. I might go back and watch the video when I get done with this and see, but I'm assuming that it's just like the slot machines. When you hit the button, the number is already chosen, and it's just animations to make the, you know. So yeah.
So you all start to feel a new feeling. So again, this is kind of, some of this goes to what Ty was talking about with metagaming. Right now, none of you guys know any of your other characters' backstories and histories. So the way I DM a lot of stuff, even in like regular games, I know Ben, you've done this before, is like, hey, if you think your character would know something about this, then you know, if it's something that I think would be common enough, I'll just say, you decide. So base what I'm telling you right now off of how your character was formed, the stuff, whether you're recalling memories, whether it's a new experience. So you guys start to feel hunger for the first time since you formed. Brian, the halfling side of you that loves to eat, you are just all of a sudden you're starving.
Alright.
I mean, you've missed first, second, third breakfast.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And as the Sabath will turn to you in celebration of the beginning of your test, you should have a feast and get to know each other. And he will actually cast Hero's Feast for you just in town by the well. You do not have to use a ration for right now.
All right. So in 2 weeks.
Starting next game, you guys will have 2 days worth of rations for the whole town.
Okay.
So in 2 weeks, we will get back together, and I believe you guys all agreed that we need to go north and start doing some farming.
So
mean-
far, yeah.
Okay. So, like Jimmy said, all of your minions. There's a total of 11 minions now on the board. You need to decide what those 11 minions are doing. Jimmy, do we want them to be specifically by the people who rolled them, or is it just like kind of everybody can make everybody do anything?
That's up to the group. You guys decide right now. To start the game, do you guys want to individually decide the occupation for the minions that you've created, or do you guys want to do that as a group effort? That's completely up to you guys how you want to do that.
I think that's something we'll have to think about for next session in general. But for right now, Ben, you've got 3.
Do we have starting gold too, or do we not have any gold?
No gold.
No gold. All right. We're
No monies. We are broke.
Just for Pat and I's reference, which of the two lands are you going to in the north? You look at the map, the one on the left or one on the right?
the one that will be easier to conquer.
So I just moved you back over to the map. So directly north, there's 2 tiles. So the left or the right.
I'll probably split the difference with Nicole and do the one on the right, so that's right next
So the
to
one
mountains.
adjacent to the mountain.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because that might be a good place to go next.
Right after you're done on the fields, and then you'll go to the mountains. Okay. So for next session, each of you figure out what your original people were doing, and then you guys have to come up with a argument of why you should work together and why you should work individually for next time. So Ben, you've got 3 people in your inn/house to take care of. Brian, you've got 4 acolytes in your temple/hospital. Nicole, you only have 1, so I'm assuming she's going to be shelving books. She's going to be working in the library. And Brian, you have 3 in your tower, 3 little monkey men in your tower, and you can decide what they're doing.